quickly, Nobu.
Almost as long as gaming itself. What must have started back in the day as self-imposed challenges for dedicated players, the widespread adoption of the internet in the 90s merged those like
That's my Nobu.
into small communities of fierce competitors, comparing nodes, sharing breakthroughs, all while trying to one-up each other by achieving the fastest times in their favorite games, dedicating hundreds or thousands of hours of practice, hoping to shave mere seconds off the clock. While the hobby started as niche, mostly being isolated to specific forums or websites, nowadays speedrunning is in the public eye more than ever as gaming has become more and more mainstream thanks to no small part to the rise of video sharing sites and streaming. Some people have made entire careers based around their ability to run through beloved classics. There are tons of YouTube channels that cover news and history related to the topic, and events like Games Done Quick have raised millions for charity while shining a spotlight on talented players. I don't think it matters who you are. There's an undeniable fascination in watching someone use all the knowledge they've learned about it, every path, strategy, and exploit to blaze through it in ways its developers never could have.
Susano, protect me.
My relationship with speedrunning content is that of a very casual outside observer. I'll watch the occasional run if I want to quickly refresh myself.
Who killed these
about a
people?
particular title.
A
But if
fearsome
I'm being
warrior.
real, my
He
favorite
demanded
type
I
of
tell him the
videos
tale
with subject
of
are
Shigenori's
ones that
heavenly
expose
strike.
repeated
When
or
he didn't
otherwise
hear the
faking
answers he
their
sought,
accomplishment.
he
It's
flew
so
into a
interesting
rage
not only seeing the
and
lengths
butchered
some
them.
players will go
What
to
did he want to
for
know?
leaderboard clout,
I'm not
but
sure, my
often
lord.
more crazy is
Tell
what
me the
exactly
story.
gets them caught.
I need to know what he's after.
Blatant cheaters are one thing, but some of these guys lose their entire
When
legacy
Tsushima
because
was
of
first
minor
settled,
frame
a
discrepancies.
strange and
It's
terrible
insane
thunderstorm
what minor
swept
details
across
some
our
people pick
island.
up on.
Wherever
My
lightning
go-to
struck,
for stuff like
beasts
this
of
is
lightning
the
appeared.
movie
These
After.
violent creatures tore through villages, causing death and destruction, moving too quickly to be stopped. The people knew only one man who could possibly stand against the lightning beasts. Shigenori, the fastest swordsman in all of Tsushima. Shigenori never lost a duel. With years of practice, he had created the heavenly strike, an attack that struck quicker than the eye could follow. Shigenori lured the creatures to a desolate beach in Komatsu, where the sand would slow their movement. Their clash turned the sand to ash and bleached the leaves of trees white. Shigenori's heavenly strike cut through them faster than they could move. As the final beast fell, the storm cleared, and Tsushima was safe again. Shigenori began a life of seclusion. Few students found him, and only the bravest and most skilled proved worthy of learning the heavenly strike. When a storm approaches, a sword is placed at Shigenori's rest by a student who knows of its location to ward off attacks from beasts of nature.
The murderer wishes to learn Shigenori's heavenly strike. It sounds dangerous in the wrong hands. Which way did he go?
A woman fled toward a nearby bridge. He chased her.
He'll answer for what he did here.
Running a game I've already played hundreds of times. A game I confidently feel I know every inch of. How hard could it be to learn its routes and tricks? And could I get competent at it in a set period of time, say a week? Let's find out. Hey, another excuse to talk about Splinter Cell Chaos Theory again. I've brought up this stealth masterpiece multiple times on this.
That's the bridge the musician mentioned.
Been over-documented. You really should play it yourself if you haven't yet. They just don't do games like this anymore. I've spent an absurd number of hours replaying each of Chaos Theory's missions in the
My
same
lord,
pre-planned
so
way
many.
again and again.
Slaughtered.
And while I never get tired of it, maybe it's time
Did you see the man who killed them?
I know who he is. Yasuhira Koga.
I've heard the name. He fought for the Yorikuwa clan. Would you recognize him?
I'll never forget that leering face.
Follow me. Perhaps I can pick up his trail on the other side of the bridge.
More about taking the
horse tracks.
I've chosen to
Yes,
try
he
out
was in
an
a hurry.
80% run on the normal difficulty, meaning my one and only goal is reaching the end of the game. I'm not trying to complete every obscure objective or beat the entire thing without being seen. I lose my mind
What more do you
trying to
know of
do that on a
Yasuhira
time
Koga?
run.
Only
My
that he was a
strategy for
retainer
this
for the
experiment
Yarikawa
boiled down to
clan
selecting
years
the
ago.
current 80% world record
After the rebellion was crushed, the clan was dissolved, and retainers dismissed.
and trying my best
Rumor
to
says he left
replicate what I
Tsushima,
saw.
but when the Mongols attacked,
An
he
average
returned.
playthrough of the third
From
Splinter
where?
Cell is
I'm not
around
sure.
4 to 5 hours.
It doesn't matter.
So during that
He cannot be
time,
allowed
I
to
am
live
trying
after
my
what he's
best
done.
to achieve as close to full completion as I can. The current 80% world record is 44 minutes 55 seconds. So, you know, a tad bit quicker. That world record I'm using as my blueprint was performed by runner Distro, by all accounts the leading authority on
Up ahead.
Splinter Cell speed.
They're constructing a
In
roadblock.
fact, he currently holds world
Mongols,
records for the first
hide
5
yourself.
entries in the series.
Who will face me first? Shemin Hudlok Nemet!
I don't see Yasuhira Koga anywhere.
We're pursuing a man named Yasuhira Koga.
He just left. He's been staying in the watchtower.
Working with the Mongols?
Yes, but last night they argued. Only made out one word. Shigenori.
I'll search the watchtower. Find somewhere safe before more Mongols come.
Is linked in the description if you want to see what I'm talking about for yourself. Now, of course, I'm not expecting to become the best speedrunner of all time in only a week. The mere idea of getting anywhere close to that first place record is silly, and thinking that I could would not only come off as arrogant, but I think disrespectful. Top times like these are achieved after months or years of prolonged practice with countless attempts.
What has Yasuhira been
Rolling on
doing?
in with my chest out, confident I could do better, would only make me look
A dueling ring. He's looking for it. White leaves, like those bleached by lightning in the tail.
gigantic ass.
The Mongols have their own version of Shigenori's tale. Maybe he wanted to compare it to the musician's
I
version.
decided to stream my entire journey over on Twitch, both for transparency's sake and because, hey,
Yasuhira is looking for someone who can teach him Shigenori's heavenly strike.
The white leaves. There are trees like that not far from here.
That's where he went. You've helped enough. Get to safety with the others.
Thank you, my lord. I hope you punish that monster.
The first order of business when jumping into this
Need to find white-leafed trees.
In speedrunning, each game and every category will have a set of guidelines that must be followed for a run to be considered legal. When does the run start and stop? Are glitches glitches allowed is pausing restricted, things like that. And thankfully, the rules for Chaos Theory any percent are simple. The run officially starts on the first frame after the lighthouse's loading screen, and ends on the first frame of the mission complete screen after the charge detonates at the end of the social. Quick saving and loading are allowed, so if something goes wrong, you can correct the mistake. Of course, that will cost time, but at least a single screw-up doesn't have to kill a run, which I'm pretty sure wasn't always the case. Obviously the screens between levels, but also those brief seconds whenever you choose to save or load data. All of that can, and in fact must, be removed from the time. This might seem arbitrary. It did to me when I first read it, but this is done to even the playing field by removing any advantage that comes with having a better PC, the platform I'm playing on. These omissions can be done after the fact by counting the seconds and doing math, which sounds so fun, or using a load remover within LiveSplit that automatically pauses the clock at appropriate moments. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this convenience to work at first, so I just timed myself normally, and for the sake of simplicity and easy comparison, I'll stick with those times until my last video. My first day acted as a baseline, playing the game without any practice to see how well I did. Beforehand, I rewatched Distro's world record run a good dozen times at varying speeds, doing my best to memorize his routes. I streamed for around 5.5 hours, trying to run the game from start to finish, though of the 8 total attempts I did, I only reached the end on 3 of them. Funny thing about speedrunning, when you know what you're supposed to do, and know that you have the capability to do it, it's really easy to fall into a perfectionist mindset. There were runs I restarted within the first couple seconds just because I fumbled selecting inventory items, and others where I screwed up enough times to lose all confidence. I even soft-locked myself at the end of Bathhouse by saving at the worst possible moment.
Oh, that's it.
Yasuhira must have gathered leaves from here.
I lose. I have absolutely soft-locked myself. Repeating the same series of actions over and over might
There it is.
seem easy. The more you do something, the better
White
you get
leaves.
at it, right?
Like those
Sometimes,
bleached
sure,
by lightning
it
in
can
the
even
tail.
feel like you're on autopilot. But it's just as common you'll start making dumb little mistakes, whether due to overconfidence or fatigue. And with the pressure of a timer always ticking by, those small blunders started to get to me. Speaking of getting to me, as much as I enjoy the dialogue in Chaos Theory, hearing the same lines back to back can easily drive someone mad, especially anything set in Lighthouse, since as the opening level, it's the most replayed. To maintain my sanity, I eventually opted to to turn the audio down, enough so that I could still hear it, but could more easily tune it out. While on the subject, there are sections where sitting through said dialogue would needlessly waste time, and that's where the allowance to quick save and load becomes vital. If you save while a character is speaking and then reload, that line is skipped. Doing this in succession lets you breeze through the entire conversations in a fraction of the time they normally would. A necessary act in some levels, where progression is halted until dialogue fully plays out. So anytime you see me
Someone's being
spamming those
tortured.
inputs, you now know why. One other thing I noted during my run is that most of the levels in Chaos Theory are shorter than I realized. Granted, they
Throw your blades!
ran through with alarms blaring, but you'd be surprised how quickly some of them fly by in the first act. It's also kind of fun to learn that the missions players have trouble fighting through are the same ones that speedrunners read, namely Soul and Master. I'll explain why they have, but I have so how well my first successful run ended with a final time of 1 hour and 9 optimizing my was bank, penthouse, etc., etc. I feel like documenting the days themselves would ultimately be redundant, so instead I'll give brief overviews describing what it's like to speedrun each level, though I will be assuming most people watching already have a general idea of how the game is laid out. As the opening mission, Lighthouse is relatively quick and easy. You go through the starting caves as efficiently as you can, making your way to where Morgan is being tortured. This is the only part that really requires pinpoint execution. If you whistle within earshot of these guards, their dialogue ends prematurely, triggering the technician in the back of the room to leave early.
Was a man named Yasuhiro with these Mongols.
Two guards in your way, and
He
one
wanted
after
to
him.
learn the heavenly strike from my grandfather
Just as
and
the
took him
opening
away.
Your grandfather's in danger. Where did they go?
His old training
Doesn't
ground.
matter if those two
The
guards
dueling ring on the
surround you
Komatsu
during the
coast.
process, though
Please,
taking too much
save
damage
him.
here will almost certainly mean your death. You're guaranteed to be seen with jumping up to this ledge. In this room, you have to interact with a laptop, and it turns out there's actually a way to optimize how you do that. Checking the computer for an objective is something you do frequently. You don't really need to do anything on the computer for an objective to count. You just have to touch it for a moment. Anytime you do this, Sam has a brief animation for you.
Yasuhiro cannot learn the heavenly strike.
However, you already have your body down. Sure you do. And, little thing you never never existed at all. If you are inhumanly fast and
Let's go, David.
나? 나? 응. M-a strigat? Acum? Mă anunț tu oricum, dacă...
Goodness. Quickly, Nobu! Someone cut that tree down in order to cross. Tsushima brought Mongols with him. Looking for me?
However, while you can run full speed past the first guard you encounter up here, you have to slow down a little bit.
A venit? N-ai zis că în viitorul apropiat?
Ți-a spus făceam tu mix.
Păi puteai să mă strici. Mai e ceva de făcut, Alex? Eu nu te-am auzit că ai zis un minut.
must be Shigenori's dueling ring. What has Yasuhira been doing? Poor man. Killed by Yasuhira. It's still fresh. Yasuhira Kuga, the butcher of the rebellion. Time hasn't changed you.
You were a child when Yarikawa burned, boy. For 15 years, I dreamed of cutting Lord Shimura to the bone.
You won't live long enough to face him.
The old man taught me the legendary attack before I killed him. Let me show you. What are you waiting for, boy?
Not waiting. Studying. Learning. I've got it. He's fast. The heavenly strike couldn't save you. You deserve greater respect than this. I promise I'll use Shigenori's technique to protect Tsushima against all who would harm it.
Especially given what a pain some of the upcoming levels can be. 237 was my best time. Before I jump into Sam's not-so-subtle battery infiltration, you might notice something different about Thomas's timing. By this point, Shadow Sprint Master himself, Distro, became aware that someone else on the planet was actually trying to run Chaos Theory, and occasionally popped into my chat to offer advice. When I mentioned my plan to manually subtract loads for one time, Live Sprint's built-in solution didn't work, he was frank enough to send me a custom reward script that automatically tracks real time as before, which for now I'll continue to refer to. But the bottom one tracks my time minus loads and is what I'll officially use for my final submission at the end of all this. Anyway, on to battery, and this is when things get serious. Battery isn't the most difficult level to complete, but it is the longest up to this point, taking a couple extra minutes to get through. That doesn't sound like much time, but that means there's more to do and more potential mistakes. It was crazy to learn that this room of filters, a room I've always thought to tiptoe through because, duh, can be traversed with a brisk walk. Thank God for heavy sleepers. At some point, you'll make it to this elevator where another new trick can be implemented. Typically, the door on this thing is so wide to open and close, burning thousands of seconds. But once you do it at just the right point, you can get it to close much faster. This technique, known bluntly as fast elevator, isn't too hard to consistently pull off in practice, though when combined with the pressure of a full run, missing it is quite hard. Once you reach the top floor, you'll shotgun these four gentlemen before heading into the control room to do the required objective. From here, you'll head back down and move into the first missile platform, shocking the two guys who are working underneath it. You then head to the second platform to get the missile support codes and wrap up the level. I managed to do all of this in 6 minutes, 23 seconds. It's fitting that the next mission is called Soul.
Put that down before you hurt yourself.
I'm sorry if my lack of skill offends, my lord.
I
have to do something.
There
Among
is
us
so much
captured my
that can
daughter.
go wrong, so
Where
many
did the
ways to
dogs
lose
take her?
What are the ships?
Sneaking
The ones with
through
the
this
Lord
actual
sails.
war zone is usually a major pain in the ass.
2
But
vessels.
that's
Who
nothing
knows
compared
how
to
many
dashing
Mongols?
past it. And
Won't
honestly,
stand a chance.
this is when all this speedrunning stuff stopped being fun.
I found the
The
boat.
first part of
Sword.
Tem que ir uma maré
that,
forte.
the
Maybe
trickiest
a
part is
friendly
knocking out the
samurai
guards
can help?
outside the server room with a well-placed
Get in the
safety
boat
pin.
and grab an
It's
oar.
surprisingly easy to screw up
You're
the
too
place,
kind, my
resulting
lord.
in
Just leave the
one guy
fighting to
getting
me.
knocked out. Absolutely a place you'll want to stay. Soul's second half is where it gets rough, though it does allow for one cathartic moment early on. After making a leap across this gap, you'll need to chuck 2 grenades to eliminate the opposition that's in your path. It's really painless to nail these
Bring
throws,
Lucky back
and
safely.
immensely satisfying to watch the
soon.
bad men go home. But from here on out, trouble awaits. Shortly after this, there's another gap you have to clear, but this one hurts. Potentially fatal depending on your health. There's a very specific spot you can land to prevent any damage, but it's really hard to hit at regular areas. Then there's the 3 drops to these bombed out floors. By aiming your weapon and maneuvering in just the right spot, you can do an exploit to fall all the way down without a scratch. But if you're not on point even a little, you'll shatter your legs anyway, or land directly in front of 2 trigger-happy soldiers. So placement is past here, you'll come across a firefight. While remaining mindful of the proximity mine in this alley, a well-placed grenade can wipe out the squad that's in your way. But that's only if none of them decide to randomly change position. You'll then have to take down the opposing forces that wait around the corner and run past the minigun without killing them. Once you finally make it, you have to hope beyond hope that you press the button so this second tank doesn't put you down and make your way instead of last. Once you've done that, cover spam the dialogue. Soul is exhausting to run, and I do not look forward to
Please,
revisiting it on the floor.
bring Lucky back safely.
Wait here. We'll return soon.
Another and another that requires equipping the stealth loadout. Bathhouse has the same problem whether you're a sneaky boy or a speedy, which is of course its final match. There's not much to say about the route leading up to that. As long as you're consistent in hitting your shots, it's more or less smooth sailing. Though it was in this level, I learned an easy way to ensure Sam always falls through tight spaces, like this one at the start. Optimally, Sam would just drop down this opening when you run over it, but it's common for him to float above it or magnetize to one of the surrounding ledges. However, if you want to with the weapon drawn, No fuss. Should come in handy. Anyone who's played Bathhouse knows what a pain the last part of it is, and rough as always. After skipping the dialogue as fast as you can, a huge firefight breaks out, and much like Soul, it's a bitch to get past. A well-placed flashbang can survive the first encounter happening. And another this nightmare dream. Although no matter how well you through it, you'll want to recite a prayer or two. The Flash could miss one of the guards, they could end up standing in your way, or you'll be so elated you actually managed to get by these assholes that you'll totally forget about the small miners around the After that, the furnace room. There's no advantage to skipping Shetland's dialogue here, as the diffusing animation takes the same amount of time regardless. The issue here are the guards that wander in each time you finish a bomb. The first one is dealt with easily enough, but if the others end up seeing you, you can more or less kiss the run goodbye. Whether they do or not probably isn't entirely luck-based, but it sure feels like it is. If you somehow manage to make it out of the room, you encounter Shetland, and watch this climactic encounter play out as normal. There's no way to skip this scene. It takes almost 2 minutes to play out, though in the name of speed, it always ends in sudden, hilarious fashion.
This is how we win.
Thanks to the padding caused by this standoff, Bathhouse takes the longest amount of time to complete, my personal best being 8 minutes, 52 seconds. We are at the...
That must be Mucky.
Si termina de activar 3.
Save me!
Nu, piescu sto. Piesa.
Still.
De ce l-am pierdut?
Mucky?
Yes,
Your father's waiting with his boat. Come with me.
I'll stay close, my lord. Thank you. You killed them all.
They deserve this.
I know. I can't believe it's over.
Make sure to bring the stealth mode out for this one as well. Restricted until we're there are two main things to keep in mind as you run through the level. First, some guards in this level are equipped with non-lethal rounds, and can incapacitate Sam the moment. That would waste tons of time, so you need to avoid being directly seen while dispatching anyone in your path. The second thing you'll want to do is make sure you have 4 alarms before you get to the vent leading into the war room. Having 4 alarms shortens all dialogue significantly, allowing for conversations quickly. There are cameras along your path you'll want to be spotted by, and a retinal scanner to hack, which should get you to max alarms just before the war room. Once you're through all that, take the elevator down to the bottom floor. This ride is long and can't be bypassed, but it does give you a minute to relax and prepare for what's ahead. When the elevator stops, drop down the path, shoot a wall line to wipe out any resistance in your path, and quickly switch to this wall, avoiding all. Once you're in the command center, you'll need to use your pistol's OCP to freeze the gun turret overlooking the room, shock the 2 guards that are in your path, and blow up the servers as instructed. Once that's destroyed, a few more baddies will enter the room, but a couple quick flashbangs makes them easy to get past. You'll likely want yourself too, but as long as you know
Lucky?
the route,
I'm here, Father.
Tsushima without
Thanks of God. Get us back to shore.
strategically
Right away,
the
my lord.
dialogue that plays out between Sam and our villain, stabilize him after he
You're safe now.
I was with them for days, Father.
Once the closing
Days.
cutscene is
Should have
skipped,
come sooner.
we've
You both need
officially
rest.
reached the end
Get to
of
shelter as soon as you have the
Chaos
strength to run.
We will.
Like I said,
Thank
Kubo
you.
Shosho isn't too bad on its own, but there
Vamos aqui
is
usar
an
esse
added
quadro
stress to
também.
playing it simply due to the fact that it's the end. My best time for Kubo was 7 minutes. With a week's worth of Chaos Theory practice behind
Where
me,
will we go,
the
Father?
last day arrived.
Let me worry about that.
This is when everything mattered. Whatever major skills I had built up had to come together so I could spend as little time as possible beating one of my favorite games. Adding up all the best runs I achieved for the individual levels gave me a theoretical best completion time of 50 minutes, 55 seconds. Remember, though, that's the unofficial estimate since it doesn't remove seconds spent loading, again indicated by the bottom timer, which is what I'll now be referring to. With that in mind, my PB is probably something closer to the low end of 49 minutes. But that's if I played every level. That's if I played it back to back with minimal screw-ups, which I didn't think was very likely to happen. There's a world of difference between replaying a singular level and having to get through the entire game from start to finish. It really adds some pressure. I went in feeling optimistic. I thought all that training would give me a sense of confidence that would make the speedrun process easier.
My lord!
Sort of ended up doing the opposite.
They've taken the bridge!
Tell me.
We were running for Hiyoshi Springs. The bridge looked safe, but the Mongols were in the ravine. They started shooting from below.
Someone's injured.
Banta, my brother's boy.
They're using him as bait. Tell your family to stay clear of the bridge. I'll stop this.
Keep screaming, Runt! Your family's leaving you to die!
There's death after death.
Would you think Abra kick your nicking ass?
Listen!
I say your cook.
Yeah, I ended up falling into it hard. I found myself resetting tons of runs because of small screw-ups. I knew it wasn't the best I could do. This is a terrible attitude to have, honestly. I would have been much less stressed out if I simply put the questions fairly obvious. Once I was inside my own head, I never managed to crawl out of it. Plus, I was straining, which added a desire to perform well.
The nigga, I'm cold.
Cheering me on, I tried to coax myself out of my
Upstairs now.
declining mood, but once I'm feeling crappy, I tend to stay there for a while. Since I was constantly judging my performance so harshly, progress was slow. As I made mistakes, I became annoyed, which put me in a worse mood, which of course snowballed into more mistakes. It was a vicious cycle. It didn't help that the constant resetting meant I was spending 80% of my stream on Lighthouse hearing the same third echelon banter ad nauseum. And I managed to soft lock myself on Bathhouse in the same exact way I had on day one. Because I kept canceling my playtime, I managed to finish the run until almost 3 hours of play,
It had to be
where I
done.
ended up with an official runtime of 52:32. Respectable, I thought. But the running question had plenty that could be corrected. I knew I could do better. I knew I was capable of it. So I kept going, even though that may not have been the best idea. My attitude continued to be less than ideal, especially now that I had a concrete time to beat, which made mistakes matter even more. Add to that the fatigue of long-term repetition, and man, I was struggling. But finally, after almost 6 hours of play, on January 15th, 2023, I achieved this run. It sounds so
They stop shooting.
It is over. Go to your family.
Thank you, my lord.
It almost
The bridge is
broke me
clear.
mad, but I finally got a legit run I was happy with. It certainly wasn't a perfect playthrough. There are many obvious blunders throughout it, but by this point, I didn't care. I had not only beaten Chaos Theory in less than an hour, but I managed to do it twice, achieving a personal best time of 51.
The Mongols are gone. Did they scream?
And while it was a rough battle to get
Their suffering isn't your concern. Take your family to Hiyoshi Springs. These roads are dangerous.
We will.
Could I potentially do even better with more time and practice? Almost certain. But for now, I'm content to keep my sanity and wear my 5125 pride. If you'd like to watch the full run for yourself, you can find it linked in the description. Fair warning, though, you can absolutely tell that I'm not in the best mindset during it. I stay silent. I stay silent for long periods and get overly annoyed at minor things. It's not my best look, but if you know the previous defined context, I hope you can excuse the somewhat sour attitude. So, to answer the question that ultimately began this whole excursion, yes, you can absolutely learn the speedrunning game you're already familiar with. Keep your expectations. Don't go thinking you'll be topping the leaderboards anytime soon. And you might find a new fun hobby to enjoy. Something I admittedly lost sight of. Whether it's against yourself or other players, speedrunning is inherently competitive. But if you end up focusing too much on that aspect of it, like I did, you'll just end up causing yourself unremitting frustration and stress. Speedrunning's main purpose from its inception to now
gets here!
I don't think speedrun.
I do!
Mr. Kraft overdoses on ketamine. Is the real thing has a significantly more active scene. Maybe it's because speedrunning seems like the base of the skill genre, but for a series as beloved as this one, it's a bit disheartening to see that new runners have engaged and there's a part of me that hopes this 10,000 people will suddenly start submitting runs, but
Here!
small shot a handful of newcomers testing their skills in a way they haven't.
There are too many gods. We won't stand a chance. We have to do something. My lord, we're going into Azamo Bay. Help us fight.
You'll endanger everyone inside if you start a fight.
The Mongols are starving and beating our elders, punishing them for a prisoner who escaped.
Your elders had nothing to do with that. Where are they being held?
One's near the shrine. We think the other two are in the houses.
How are you planning to get in? The gates are sealed shut.
There's an opening in the fence by the main gate. We used it as children to sneak out.
I'll use it to sneak in. Stay out of sight until I've opened all the gates.
Thank you, my lord.
5 seconds of walking, I came across this clearing full of fellow adventurers beating up goblins in RuneScape, one of the oldest and most beloved MMORPGs of all time. What began as a passion project for a few brothers blossomed into a huge phenomenon that helped present to this day. Starting its life as a Java-based browser that allowed users to play for the low price of free. RuneScape almost
Throw your blades!
barriers to entry ensure that anyone curious about the adventuring right in, resulting in massive player and dedicated. In fact, who would deny RuneScape is an important title and a bona fide classic. And it's a classic that I never played. RuneScape has been on my radar for a while now, mostly thanks to some great videos from other much more talented creators. Yet, I've always hesitated to give it a go personally for one small, tiny, almost insignificant reason. I don't like MMOs. Oh, I've tried to jump on the bandwagon many times in the past. WoW was my longest-lived attempt to enjoy the genre, since basically every close friend I've ever had sunk hundreds of hours into it, but I also gamed Warhammer Online, Online, and Old Republic Shock, and the same thing happened every time. I played for a few days, get bored of the gameplay loop, and never returned. But I figured this period of time where everyone is more or less stuck inside was an ideal opportunity to get going back to basics might help me understand more of what makes this genre enjoyable. I'm honestly not expecting that to happen, but I'm going in with an open mind, so hey, you never know. The first step when deciding to make an account and play RuneScape is to figure out what version of RuneScape to go with. That might seem like a silly question, but the history and meaning that
Negio Jacinta.
sort of convoluted. I'll do my best to explain. As I understand it, the original version of RuneScape released in 2001. Then 2005 brought us RuneScape 2, which moved the game over to an engine, but instead of calling it RuneScape 2, they dropped the number from its
Stand and fight me!
calling it RuneScape, and the first game was dubbed RuneScape Classic from the off. After years of updates, RuneScape 3 came out in 2013, but in response to dwindling player numbers that didn't improve how much the game is. That year also saw the birth of a release based on a 2007 build of RuneScape 2/RuneScape 2. Long-time fans probably won't be surprised to hear this, but I decided to go with RuneScape because it's considered to be the best of the bunch and has the largest player base by a wide margin. Like it's not even close. Instead of pretending to know what the hell I'm talking about, I know about this game differently. There are people far more informed about RuneScape. Rather, I would like to document my day-to-day experiences as a new number I had to play for 2 up to 4 hours a day. I think there's some total of that time I should understand. And 3, I chose not to do outside of I know some of the more famous comics think that's a terrible idea, but I want to give myself someone playing from that age, or at least my detail is also productive. The goal was to explore and have fun, not follow a spreadsheet. I should also point out that I played on a free account, so all the members-only content was not available to me. Hi, just popping in real quick to issue a warning to some of you watching this video. If you're like a dedicated, die-hard RuneScape fan, someone that knows how to squeeze back every second of gameplay, this video is almost certainly haven't watched it the entire time I'm doing it. How it was, and I recommend you back to it. These who are passionate fans know what they're talking about, and actually videos that got me I hope that watching me rumble his way through unrestricted territory isn't interesting, but my extensive list of mistakes and the getting I deserve allows me to say sorry to say. Upon watching it for the first time, I was tasked with
Tisha! Well, that ain't time! People! Show how to make Japanese food or lose head to Mongols.
Kill them first.
From here, I had the freedom to choose my destiny. The world is my oyster. There's so much to see and do, and I had no idea where to start. Well, actually, my first business was with Mark Business Live. I thought I'd get used to it by the time I was done with the tutorial, but
Kill them
icons
first.
were for ants, not pro gamers like myself. There
Hit me
doesn't
up.
seem to be any much scaling off the game, at least not for free players, so I had to go into my monitor display settings and increase the app size to 1. That made RuneScape go from this to this. Much better. The next thing I did was talk to this NPC named John standing near my spawn location. He's here to explain adventure paths, essentially milestone quests for new players that support items from levels of various skills, and with no other clear goal, this seemed like as good a place to start as any. Focusing on combat seemed straightforward enough, so I looked around for some way to fight mobs, and after a whole 5 seconds of walking, I came across this clearing full of fellow adventurers beating up goblins and monsters. Even though I chose the most populated free server, it's still surprising how many players there were in a given area. There was never a moment I didn't see various other person yelling about their vehicles, whether it's someone like me, their parents, veterans speaking around to give them direction and advice. It was really cool to see. And of course, tons of bots and website links for free equipment and Asian gold bars. So inside my own
Chiharu, huh?
There's no other way.
Chiharu! Legion Jacinta, senta! Chiharu, huh? Odrączka, Chiharu, huh? What's this, Betty? I'll do anything. Do whatever you want.
Everything's fine.
Stay here until I deal with your captors.
Thank you, my lord. They were working us to death.
You're free now.
I was alone.
Accept Mongol rule. Ich Hanshamagor Suchbol. Resist and be punished.
Thank you, my lord.
You'll be free soon. Are you the headman?
I am. The Mongols threatened to kill my people unless I accepted their rule. I was about to give in.
You were strong to resist. Remain hidden until it's safe to come out.
The Mongols are holding Konomi, our healer, near the shrine. She'll never submit. I fear they'll kill her. My lord, please, get me out of here.
You're safe now.
I was sure they were going to kill me. They already killed one blacksmith.
No, he escaped. You will too. But stay here until it's safe.
Please free me.
You're going to be all right. Are you hurt?
I'm fine. They wanted me to heal their sick.
And you refused. Stay here until I've dealt with the rest.
No one is truly free until their new warlord is dead. He's taken over the headman's house. My lord!
It's not safe here. Run.
Cu lămâie, dar acum vrei și bere Timișoreana? Vorbeam.
Fit for a samurai.
내 못 있어. 어?
I'll give you whatever you want.
Samurai,
You tortured and abused my people.
accept Mongol rule, and your people will not suffer.
You are a liar and a coward. You deserve nothing less than death.
I will take nothing less than your head.
She was right behind me. Gone. Samurai.
That's my logo.